This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
We have got some really fun games on tap for the NFL in week number 7. We have got Rams and Jaguars. A couple of teams trying to break into that contender tier. Colts and Chargers. Colts trying once again to validate themselves as contenders. Chargers trying to get back on the right track here. And the Falcons and the Niners. The Falcons defense trying to stay hot in Santa Clara this week. To break down those games and best bets for week 7, we're going to talk to Olivia Moody, get her read on the big games and her favorite bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. Welcome on into Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, joined here as mentioned by Olivia Moody. Check her out at livmoods across the board. She is at Guerrilla Sports and at FanDuel Sportsbook as well. Liv, it's been a bit. We used to have you on the show here quite a bit, but you've been doing a lot of fun stuff out there. So welcome back. How you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I think just been trying to wrap my head around what it looks like to be a Denver sports fan these days. It's a lot of changes here in the Mile High City. My Denver Nuggets are about to start their season, which, there's a lot of hype and a lot of excitement, but sometimes that leads to disappointment if you're a little too hyped and too excited. So I'm trying to remain calm, cool, and collected as my Denver Broncos are nearly giving me heart attacks every single weekend. So it's definitely a fun time. As you know, this is about to become the busiest time of our lives, but also the most enjoyable. So can't complain.
Yeah, outside of the Bengals game, the Broncos have not given you a lot of easy, low heart rate games, unfortunately. We're going to talk about their game this week because they're facing a team that's been pretty exciting the past couple weeks in the New York Giants. Do a check-in on Jaxson, Dart, and Cam Scatterboom and kind of get Liv's read on them. Then we'll talk through those key games and Liv's favorite bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. But first, a reminder to make sure to subscribe to the Covering the Spread podcast feed and the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. We are here Monday through Friday during the football season, broke down college football week 8 with Kent Padgett yesterday. Tomorrow, Aiden Cotter joins me, talk some props for week number 7 as well. And of course, on the FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page, you can find our DFS show as well every Thursday live at noon Eastern. Check out that FanDuel Football Betting YouTube page. Subscribe there, leave us a thumbs up, and turn on notifications to get those shows as they go live. And of course, the Covering the Spread podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. FanDuel's getting ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. NFL season is finally here. Only question is, are you ready to play? Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Now, Liv, as mentioned, New York Giants taking on your Denver Broncos for this weekend. So I wanted to check in with you on how you're feeling about the Giants right now. Huge win last week against the Eagles. We know Quinyon Mitchell for most of that game. No Jalen Carter, obviously. But they've been fun to watch, which is a deviation from what we've seen from the Giants the past couple of years. So how much of this mini surge do you think is legit? And are they a team you're willing to buy into at all?
Yeah, I think... Listen, I don't know if I'm going to go put, a ton of money on the Giants to win their division. We're going to take this one step at a time because it is a very long season. However, I have to ask you, how many times do you hear about a 2-4 football team having fun? And that, I think, is what makes this Giants team so dangerous is they're having fun. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they have really been revived by Jaxson, Dart, and Cam Scatterboom. So in my opinion, those are kind of some of the most dangerous teams in the NFL is the ones that just have nothing to lose and everything to gain. This is what this Giants team is. They're getting momentum at the right time, completely flipping their season around, winning games, winning really exciting, high energy, against good teams games. And so I'm not willing to I don't know how much I'm willing to buy into them, but do I think that they're legit? I think that they really very well could be. There are rumors circulating that they're on the hunt for some more weapons ahead of the deadline. You add some more weapons to Jaxson Dart's, roster, and the combination of Cam Scadaboo. And I think this is a team that nobody should be taking lightly, especially my Denver Broncos, given how humbled they were against a winless Jets team. So I will tell you, I am going to the game on Sunday. Prepared to take this Giants team very, very seriously. And I can just hope and pray that my Broncos are doing the same.
Well, I took the over in that game, so I'm buying into the Giants, at least to an extent, where I think that they can be frisky. They still have a very tough schedule going forward, which is kind of the reason why there was a lot of skepticism around the Giants entering the season. That schedule is still in place, including on Sunday, but they're doing enough. And with the total being 40.5, they don't need to do a whole lot against a very good Broncos defense that frankly is playing up to its reputation so far this year. So as long as they can do something for me, I'll be very happy. But I think that overall, there's reason to be excited. I think vibes do matter in the NFL. We've seen that with the Eagles in the negative sense, with the Giants in the positive sense, Dolphins in the negative sense. And it's a team that wants to compete, and that does matter to me. So it's been a lot of fun to watch them, and I'm excited you get to watch them in person on Sunday. That'll be cool.
That's right. I just hope, as exciting as they are, I hope that they don't have success only because I'm biased and I need my team to win. However, I think nonetheless, it will be a very exciting and fun game to watch for sure.
It very much will. Now, before you go to that game on Sunday, you can check out the London games. We got one more over there once again. This time it is the Rams and the Jaguars. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Rams favored by 3. Total in this game, 44.5. Rams unlikely to have Puka Nacua in this game, but still favored by 3 points in this game. It's a kind of light 3 at -105. So, Liv, what's your read on this game if we assume there's no Puka Nacua for the Rams?
This feels like a trap game a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. I think the public will heavily favor the Jags, just given the uncertainty around Puka Nacua. But that being said, Davante Adams still exists, okay? Number 1 in the NFL with 69% of the team's end zone targets. Number 2 in the NFL with 11 end zone targets. Number 3 in the NFL with 39% of teams' red zone targets. So Adams is still here. And we know that Matthew Stafford is a very reliable, consistent, accurate quarterback. He's going to find Davante Adams. I think if he's feeding Davante Adams the entire game, there's a world where this Rams team is just fine even without Puka Nacua. So I think because there's going to be maybe a slight overreaction around the uncertainty of Puka, Puka, as valuable as he is to this offense, he isn't the entire offense. And I think there's a lot of ways that this Rams team can win without him. And so I think you're going to see a large overreaction from the public hammering the Jags, because the Jags are also a good football team. I mean, let's be real. This is going to be a good football game. That being said, it's still Matthew Stafford. I think that we have seen over the course of many seasons now that Matthew Stafford might be a little bit more reliable than Trevor Lawrence. So feels a little trappy to me, honestly. It's one of those stay aways, especially at that hour in the morning. I do not want to upset myself, placing all these bets and feeling like, oh my gosh, something in my gut told me not to touch this game and I did it anyway. That being said, my only word of advice is I don't think the Rams are doomed without Puka Nacua by any means.
I agree with you. And frankly, in large part because of their defense is very, very good. I know last week we can write that off because it was Cooper Rush for the Ravens. So that doesn't matter. But this defensive line is good. And frankly, they have a lot of air of Seahawks to them, where last week the Seahawks gave the Jags a lot of trouble because their defensive front gave that offensive line, which is still not my favorite in the league, kind of, I think, a slight weakness for the Jags. It gave them issues. And the Rams have a lot of the same pluses to them. So I had the Rams by 4 in this game. And that's without Puka Nacua, because we also don't have Devin Lloyd for the Jags. It's been a huge factor for them so far this year. So I'm still a bit skeptical of the Jags overall. And I agree with you where Davante Adams plus the weird conglomeration of Jordan Whittington, Tutu Atwell should be back for this game. I think that's enough to get the Rams over the hump here. So I agree that it does wind up looking like a stay away, despite the fact there's no Puka here.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Alrighty, let's move now to a game that I am super excited to watch in the afternoon slate. That is the Colts heading out to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, Chargers slight favorites by 1.5. Money line here, minus 126 versus 108 for the Colts. Total in this game is at 48.5. And the Colts just keep on passing key tests, but now they get another on the road against the Chargers. So, Liv, do you think the Colts have enough juice to pull off the very slight upset here?
Listen, every time I think that they don't, they do. So I have to be completely transparent with you, Jim, and say that I did not see this coming from Danny Dimes this season.
Yeah.
I did not see this coming from this Colts team as a whole. I did not anticipate that they would be an AFC dark horse, and that's kind of what they're looking like they're becoming here. That being said, I think it's sad but true. I'm not fully there yet with them, and let their record show it. They are a good football team, but I just think, when you see them up against a Chargers team, perhaps Justin Herbert, that Chargers defense, the weapons that he's got, how well coached they are. I guess I've been kind of waiting for the moment that they hit a roadblock, and the Chargers might be that roadblock. The Chargers are a really stinking good football team. Speaking as a Broncos fan, I dread every time we have to play this team. They are really just a great football team. That being said, do you look at this and go, I actually think the wrong team is favored here, given what we've seen over the last few weeks? Kind of, yeah. So it's one of those where I don't want to call it a trap game, but my brain is telling me, why on earth are the Colts not the favorite? I should take advantage of the fact that they're not the favorite, but my heart or my gut is telling me that it's the Chargers. And every time I fade the Chargers, I end up regretting it. The Chargers are pretty injured. The Colts have the momentum, in my opinion. So I don't know how you don't take the Colts here. But again, I sound a little nervous and timid about that. So maybe that's my body's way of telling me to stay away and just watch the excitement and maybe not put money on the excitement.
Yeah, I agree with you with the indecision because this game is very tight. I think both these teams I'm buying into the Colts. I am still very skeptical of their defense, but the Chargers offense is banged up right now. I think Quentin Johnston will play in this game, did practice Wednesday, so he should get back out there, but still no Joe Alt. That's a downgrade for them, but I think the Chargers move the football here, but the Colts will too. Khalil Mack is back at practice for the Chargers, so that could be a good thing, a very necessary upgrade, but this Colts offensive line has proven they can shut down even very good quality defensive lines. So I have this as basically, I think the Chargers by 0.9 for me personally. It's a very close game, and the market reflects that with where things stand. So Liv is I in the Colts money line plus 108. I agree with you where I've been slow to buy into them because my prior on Daniel Jones was not super high. I think for
I know. I
hopefully
think a lot of people feel that way, right? Like,
for hopefully understandable reasons.
Right.
But,
I guess most players are not in their prime at his age.
Right. Exactly.
This is where we see the decline. So forgive me if I'm a little confused seeing him. I mean, he's just like reversing. He's like reverse aging right now. And it's a very strange thing, but he looks incredible. So I can't knock it. I think I just have some reservations there still.
Yeah, my concern with him was, will the ACL and the neck injuries he suffered with the Giants, will those torpedo his career entirely? Because like he was fine at times with the Giants, and like he was a guy who showed when you gave him good infrastructure with Brian Dable and Mike Kafka, he could be a quality quarterback.
Yeah,
but we didn't see that version of him for a while due to, again, I think those injuries, the ACL and the neck, and we don't always see guys revert to their previous form from those kinds of injuries. And I wasn't sure we would see that. We have seen that. So I agree with you where it's like, maybe it is time to buy into them, still showing a bit of value on the Chargers side of things, but like this Colts team's pretty good. And that's more, I think, in my eyes, a reflection of respect for the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh than it is an indictment of the Colts.
I agree with that. Love that.
All righty, let's talk about the Sunday night game then, which is the Atlanta Falcons taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, the Niners are favored by just 1.5. The total, or that spread has been tightening throughout the entire week. Total in this game down to 46.5. Atlanta's defense continues to look really, really good. They shut down Josh Allen on Monday Night Football. Now facing a Niners team likely to get George Kittle back this week. I don't think they'll be getting Ricky Pearsall, and I think it might be Mac Jones once again. So, Liv, when you look at this game, a lot of moving parts, a lot of enthusiasm, it seems like, for the Falcons in the market in this game. What are you seeing in this one?
Honestly, this feels like, man, my gut tells me Stay away from the spread, stay away from money line, maybe bet the over under. And I actually lean towards the under given the performance of these two defenses throughout this season. I mean, you've got a Falcons defense that just held the third best offense to 14 points. I mean, this is Josh Allen we're talking about. So this defense is on an absolute heater. And again, it's, I talked about it at the top of the show here where I said it's hard for me to fade teams that have all the right momentum and energy. And I think the Falcons are one of those teams right now. I mean, the momentum that they're going to carry over from shutting down Josh Allen, I think is going to be exceptional. And if they can shut down Josh Allen, no offense, but I don't think they're going to have a huge issue against Mac Jones. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it's the truth. Yeah. So I would say, the Falcons right now feel like a team that you don't want to fade unless you have to. And right now, I don't feel a reason to fade them. That being said, this feels like one of those games where you just look at the under, knowing what both defenses are going to bring to the table and knowing that both offenses are either inconsistent or injured. So I kind of lean towards this being a really big defensive showdown. And that being said, I kind of give the favor here to the Falcons, who have not only proven what their defense is capable of, but are coming off of such a massive defensive performance. So I lean Falcons if I had to pick, but I think I just go under in this game.
I think the under is the right call. I have this total at 43.9 in my numbers, based on that's even with a pretty massive downgrade to the Niners defense for no Fred Warner. Like, I am penalizing them in what I think is a very serious way, but you said the word consistent, and that's perfect for the Falcons because they ain't that. They have shown that they can have these decent games and then collapse the week after that. And now Jake Matthews is banged up too. Their left tackle. They were already without Caleb McGarry, their right tackle. And we saw the impact of that the first couple of weeks. So even though the 49ers are not healthy, I still think they could give the Falcons offense some trouble here. And this Falcons defense can give everyone some trouble with the way they're playing. I wanted to hold off on betting the under initially because I thought that we would get Brock Purdy in this game, thought we might get Pearsall with Kittle as well. Now that it looks like to be Mac Jones without Pearsall with Kittle, I think that under 46.5 minus 104 looks very, very good. So it sounds like we're on the same page here where we're respecting this Falcons defense, buying into what they've done, skeptical of the Niners in their current state, and that all leads towards an under 46.5 and minus 104.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
Alrighty. So we're checking out the under there for the Niners and the Falcons. This Falcons defense, very fun to watch. Even if it's a low scoring game, should still be a delight in that one. Absolutely. All right, Liv, we've broken down the biggest games for this week. Now, I want to open up the board for you. Where else is seeing value across week 7 at FanDuel Sportsbook?
Yeah, I'm seeing value in a Denver Broncos player. I know everyone's going to say, Homer. I get it. However, this really does feel super appropriate here because Courtland Sutton is coming off of a pretty rocky game. He did not play very well out in London versus the Jets. And Courtland Sutton has really proven to be Bo Nix's most reliable target this season, despite seeing a couple of upgrades in Troy Franklin's performance. He's still not super reliable with his hands just yet. Evan Ingram has shown some promise over the last couple of games, but throughout the entirety of this season, it's pretty clear Bo Nix to Courtland Sutton is what makes the most sense 90% of the time. He's coming off of a really rough game, but in this next game versus the Giants allow the most receiving yards to opposing wide receivers and overall have allowed opposing wide receivers to do very well this season. You've got A.J. Brown with 80 yards, Quentin Johnston with 98 yards, CeeDee Lamb, 112 yards. So I really think this is a great opportunity, not just for Courtland Sutton, not just for the Broncos, but certainly for my bet slip to take advantage of Courtland Sutton bouncing back against the Giants this weekend. So I'm thinking over on his receiving yards. Maybe you also sprinkle on an anytime touchdown for him. Because I do think the Giants are going to score, and I think the Broncos are going to need to score as well. And I do think Bo Nix will be finding Courtland Sutton any chance that he gets. So I like Courtland Sutton to have just a really big Sunday. That's kind of my play of the week.
The receiving yardage prop for Sutton right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, 56.5 over is minus 114. That makes a lot of sense to me because there's been a lot of discussion about Sauce Gardner and his not being like an amazing cornerback this year, but we've still seen teams scheme to get the ball to the other players when they face Sauce Gardner. So the fact that Sutton didn't do a whole lot in London, to me, I don't care that much, frankly, because Sean Payton's a smart coach. He knows that he knows how to scheme for his players and scheme for the opposing defense. And that often says, don't go Sauce Gardner's way. Again, despite the fact maybe he hasn't been quite as good as he was in his rookie season. Now he does not have that setup. As you said, the Giants secondary is not their strength. It's all about their pass rush, but this Broncos offensive line is good enough to keep them mostly in check. I don't know if anyone can fully contain the Giants pass rush, but keep them mostly in check to allow Bo Nix to let it rip, which he has shown he is willing to do when he's given the time to do so. So Sutton 56.5, given again, no Sauce Gardner here. This Giants secondary is a big step down in competition. I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Love it. Yay. I'm glad you agree. If Jim gives his stamp of approval, I feel pretty good about it. So I like it.
And we were in agreement on enough here. We feel pretty good about the way things are looking for this week. So we're not fading the Rams, despite not having Puka. Checking out the under for that Niners and Falcons game. I think this all makes sense, and buying into Courtland Sutton against the Giants as well. Well, that is all that we have here for today on Covering the Spread. Big thank you to you once again, Liv, for joining me for today, breaking down your thoughts in week 7. Good luck to you with your bets. Enjoy the game on Sunday. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you, Jim. We'll see you soon.
You can find Liv on X at livmoods. Find her across the board as well. Check her out at Gorilla Sports and FanDuel Sportsbook. I am on X and Blue Sky at JimSannes and on Threads at Jim.Sannes. You can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work in the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you with your Week 7 bets. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow to break down the props for this week. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.